One.
Good afternoon, everybody. So as you can tell, we are the Thunder Dragons. I am Israel. This is Danny, Chandler, Tavita, and Justin. Danny and Chandler will be giving the presentation. Me and Tavita had worked on the executive summary, and Justin had put together this wonderful, powerful PowerPoint for us. So we hope you all enjoy and listen to what we have to say, and maybe get some positive ideas to throw into there. Thank you.
So Tavita's got the summaries there, and I just wanted to start. Oh, I'm moving over. The camera in mind. I just want to start by reading the statement on Pikes website for the Sustainability Office. It says, the Office of Sustainability teaches the importance of reducing our resource footprint while saving money and improving our quality of life. The Sustainability Coordinator leverages community resources to engage students through educational activities and building efficiency programs. So with that in mind, our initial goal was quite similar to everyone else's. We have the same criteria. We have to prioritize primary shareholders. Sustainability Office, obviously the students are the primary driving force behind any change that'll happen. We also needed to keep a minimal budget in mind. And the primary focus, I guess, would be to be mindful of the signage and the way stations in particular, trying to figure out a way to, reduce the diversion rate or increase the diversion rate, decrease the contamination rate. Those were our main criteria that we were working with, and I'll pass it off to Danny.
All right, so going into this, we did some background research, got some background knowledge. The first website we chose was the iceberg model, and we kind of already discussed it, how you only see about 10%, and then like the rest of the 90% is like underwater or you don't see, so that can be applied to recycling, where we really only see the 10%, but there's so much more going on underneath that, and then 10% kind of gives us our perspective on the rest of the 90%. And then we also looked up recycling across America. And that was a really good source about just really about some of the labels you find on recyclable materials. Each material has their own recycling label and tells you what can and cannot be recycling, as well as what can be compostable and what's trash. And then the last background source we decided to look at was a YouTube video of what happens when you recycle. When we recycle, we only see like the beginning, us throwing it away in the recycling bin or taking it to the curb. And the YouTube video was really helpful to kind of show what goes on with your recycling after you do your part. So.
All right, so our main problem to solve, the primary issue, is the contamination issue. It could be as simple as a bottle cap or liquid in a cup, but we're all aware that if a little bit of contamination gets into the recycling, it all goes out. So whatever kind of effort we put in beyond that could just be wasted if we don't address that issue first. So that's the primary pressing issue. The main current situation with the janitorial staff, they're really the eyes and ears on the ground of what is and isn't in the bins. There could be, that is an issue. We'll leave the solution for a moment from now, but that's the main issue, is contamination.
So next, we came up with some possible solutions that didn't make the cut for one reason or another. The first idea we had, we would take a video tour of a local landfill, just to kind of show like how big the problem really is. It might have some sad music or some seagulls or pigeons or whatever eating trash, kind of appeal to the people. Our next idea was to have like a monitor at each of the waste stations, kind of directing students what can and can't be recyclable. This would be kind of on a volunteer basis, but there would be some incentive. Like for example, if you did a 2-hour slot, you might get a free lunch out of it. So that was another idea. And then another idea we had was to have a wash station next to the recycling bins to kind of wash out some of that contaminant. This was a good idea, but realized it would be an infrastructure problem. Yeah.
So, final solution that we have come to is to establish a green team specific to either coordinating other volunteers or existing janitorial staff to get, kind of a rundown on the acceptability of certain items, and to have them go to specific events, not just across the campus all the time, but to go to specific events and be ambassadors, more or less, for a small amount of way stations in the in the area of the event. So it would take less time, less money, less manpower, and it would still have a pretty solid effect. Kind of lost my train of thought, but the Stress Fest coming up would be like a perfect example of a good time frame to do that. It's kind of a either beginning or end of the semester where there's a lot of activity going on. It would just be a good way to spread the word, and that way, the real power is knowledge. We can change here, and we can take it home, and we can change our community outside of here as well. So it seems to be the most effective bang for the buck that we've found to address the primary concern, which is to hopefully reduce contamination.